2006, there was this little company called ICQ. ICQ, if you remember ICQ, anybody? Whoa! Awesome. So ICQ invented instant messaging. And instant messaging kind of changed the global communications landscape. Pretty soon they were acquired by AOL, and then pretty soon all of the big players had an instant messaging platform. And the thing that was significant about this is that it was the first mass market global communications network or channel. So you could communicate for free across this channel globally, and that was the first of its kind, especially in the mass market. I mean, there was IRC and stuff like that before, but this was really revolutionary. And at the time, the established telecom operators had no idea how profound the disruption was going to be. They just didn't get it. They thought that these were toys. I had a little taste of it. I was on a business trip in Florida, and there was an earthquake in Seattle back home. And we heard about it right away. And I called my wife on her mobile. I called the house number, and it was busy. The whole telecom infrastructure had fallen over during the earthquake, but the data infrastructure was up. So I sent her an instant message, and she sent me back and said, hey, everything's okay. We felt the earthquake, but no problem. In 2003, Skype closed the loop and introduced free calling globally, and basically changed the market forever. They made the world a lot smaller place, and they introduced a completely new model. And I call that model the free revolution. And what I want to talk about is what's after free. You know, we got a lot of benefit out of that, but what's after free? So there are three major forces at play in the industry today that give us a new platform to play with. The first is just the hardware, right? So my iPhone today is 50 times faster, 50 times more powerful than the one that they launched in 2007. It's got 2 million pixels on the screen and 2 billion transistors. So it's really yesterday's supercomputer in your pocket. And it runs on a new network. Today's LTE network is 10 times faster than the 3G network that we were using just a couple years ago. So very profound change. When you take, and it's also a much lower latency network, about half the latency of 3G, and much more consistent delivery. So you can do things like HD voice calls on that network. So you take that network, and you take the new devices, and you put them together, you can build really immersive experiences. And this is a really profound change. And then the third component of the transition of the platform is the compute model. So in 2003, we were hosting our own servers. We were building our own server farms and whatnot. In today's world, it's not just the big players who can have access to the scale economy of the cloud. It's everybody. Amazon opened that up for us, and we all have access to it. So we can build and deploy services exponentially faster and cheaper than we could just in 2003. And what this means is that we have this massive, broad, flattened ecosystem of innovation. So it's not just about Facebook and Microsoft and Google anymore. It's about little tiny teams all around the world who can build services that have global reach, reaching hundreds of millions of people. And this is a totally profound thing because it sets a new expectation. And the new expectation is that the services are going to be higher fidelity. If you've got a beautiful device with a screen and a camera, you should be showing your images in higher resolution. If you've got a great microphone in your device, we want to hear the voice in HD. HD calls aren't just better to listen to, they're actually easier to understand. And then the other component that's very interesting about this shift and what we're trying to do, we're trying to get away from the static stuff. So emoji, a finite list of emoji, right? Or stickers. I personally find them really annoying, but I'm not a millennial. So, but you know, they're in all these apps. What about something that's more personal and more expressive? So we have this feature we call Sketch. Instead of posting an emoji, you draw a smiley face or a heart, and everyone is unique, everyone is personal, and everyone is beautiful in its own way. Or saying hello with a GIF, right? Nothing's more surprising than when you query the Giphy API and get hello back. and post it into a conversation. All of this has to be done, though, in a kind of new context, in a more secure context and in a way that respects your privacy. So the world is thinking about privacy differently since Snowden, and people are starting to pay attention to it. And unfortunately, the big internet companies' business model is fundamentally at odds with your privacy and your security. They have your data, they keep your data, they use your data to target ads at you and other things. And we believe, I believe, that security and privacy have to be at the top of the list. So the platform needs to adhere to all of the best practices, of course, but the culture and the structure of the company also need to be oriented towards privacy and security. And that's just a mantra for us at Wire. And finally, the expectation now is that it's truly mobile. It's not mobile only. So many of these applications and services started either on the desktop and then tried to migrate to mobile, or started on mobile and tried to do something on the desktop or added in later. You have to design for all of these things up front. And you know, in the morning you may be on your mobile phone on the way to the office, then you're in front of your desktop, in the evening you have your iPad. And that paradigm needs to be respected. The people need to be able to communicate within all of those environments and do it totally in sync, so that what you see on the iPad and what you see on your mobile phone is totally in sync, and the cloud lets us do that. So yeah, in summary, the next generation of internet communications is about expressive, high-fidelity communications on a secure platform, and done so that it can be used on all of your devices. Thank you.
Awesome. Has anybody got any questions?